So another day in 2024 fragrance community and yet another new release. So at this point in time, every other year over the last couple years, we really had no new releases, indie, niche, designer. It didn't really matter. And this year has been a lot different. There's a lot of new releases. And over the past few weeks, I've kind of been doing some family things, so I've kind of been on the back burner, but now we're going to get fully back into it, talking about this one, and I'm also going to mention some of the other new releases, but today we're doing my first impression on by Kilian. It is Kilian Old Fashioned. So that's what we're talking about today. So without further ado, let's get it. What's good, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka Fragrance Dude, back at you with another 2024 new release fragrance here in the fragrance community. Before we get into that, Kilian, make sure that if you're not already, hit the subscribe button. Also, comment below. Let me know if you've tried this fragrance out. I know some of you have. Let me know what you think about it. Also, if you want to try it, let me know that as well. And then hit the like. Takes 2 seconds. So again, this is a year that is different from all the rest of the years where we really had no releases after like May or June outside of like one or two. Like in 2022 or 2023, the only designer release after June was Coach Open Road. So it was definitely a difference this year because we have Spice Bomb Dark Leather that just came out. We have the Versace Eros Energy that was finally released. I tried that one out, did not find it a full bottle worthy. While it is nice, it's like Aventus Cologne meets like some kind of lemony lime orange. Very citrusy, very tart, but I'll talk about that more another day. We have another new Kilian that's on its way out. It is Angel Share Paradise. I'm very interested to try that, but there is no news on when that's coming out. I'm guessing it's very soon. I also have Boss Bottled Absolute that I want to try. It's being released in a week in Europe, so hopefully I can get my hands on that. So we also have Tony Iommi's Deified. I'm going to be reviewing that later this week as well. And I know there's a few other ones that I'm missing, but put them in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But as of right, Seraphim Red by Zaharoff as well. I did just pre-order that right before this video. With that said, in this line, there were a bunch of other fragrances. There's like that Overt that I just found out even existed. There's this one, which is my favorite fall fragrance of all time. It is Kilian's Angel Share. Or that's Apple Brandy. I couldn't see. This one's Angel Share. Angel Share, as you can tell, this is my second bottle. And I buy one like every year because I love them. I love the look of the bottle. They look like a little like rocks glass. This smells like a cinnamon bun drink. Then we have Apple Brandy on the rocks. Once I saw the color, I was like, yeah, that's not the right color. Apple Brandy on the rocks. It's a little bit slightly fresher than this one, and it's not as resinous. But the apple is definitely straightforward. If you like apple, if you like booze, then you're definitely going to like this fragrance. But the one that we're going to be talking about today, I don't know anything about it, but based on the name, it's Kilian Old Fashioned. And an Old Fashioned is usually like a smooth bourbon or vermouth mixed together with either like an orange peel or cherry or something like that. So I'm guessing we're going to get some of those things, but you never know with Kilian. They could just be using this line as a name to really sell it, and it smells nothing like that. But again, this is Kilian's Old Fashioned. And I got this decant from a guy who owns his own perfumery, and he was sending these out. Took a little while for me to get it, but I was going to get a decant first because you never know with Kilian's. Kilian's, I can tell you, they're either really hit or they're really miss. So if I like this, I'm going to get a full bottle, but let's spray it on. So this is Kilian Old Fashioned. There we go. Ooh. Now that is interesting. It does not smell like an old fashioned whatsoever. And my dad drank old fashions like a lot whenever we would go out and drink, or even when I was younger, when we were watching like a Steeler game, he would have an old fashioned, and this does not smell like an old fashioned. This smells like, and honestly, the boozy tone is, so I heard a few rumblings out there that this was very similar to an old Kilian that was out there that I've never tried before, single malt, which really interested me because single malt has plum in it. And so I'm probably going to get a decan of that at some point in time, even though it's discontinued. But this one, the boozy tone is really dialed back. It's muted for sure. It has this resinous, woody feeling at the top of it. And I remember when I posted the notes for this, I don't remember what else was in it. I just remember there being wheat. And it does have this like wheat-like smell to it, but you know what this kind of reminds me of? And this is going to be a stretch. But have you guys ever smelled the chewing tobacco that is called Red Man? It kind of smells like that, where it's almost like semi-sweet raisin-like. It has vibes of that. It's a little bit dry, and you can smell the muted boozy tone underneath it, but this is not at all what I was expecting from this. I do really enjoy it. There is this nice subtle sweetness to it, but it's not an overly sweet fragrance like the other two that I just spoke about. It's not like Angel Share. I'm guessing that's where they're going to be going with Angel Share Paradise, is down that more sweet path. Well, this one is definitely more your masculine, I'm going to be wearing a leather jacket out. It's a fall and winter fragrance for sure. But I'm surprised. It's called Old Fashioned, which is a boozy fragrance, and the booze in this is muted. It's noticeable, but it's muted. And then on top of that, again, it's almost like this resinous woods with a little bit of like a wheat-like smell to it. Dry, smooth, and like I said, it has almost like this Red Man pouch. I know if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what I'm talking about, but back in the day when I played football, a lot of people had the Red Man pouches, which it kind of had this like almost like woody, dry, raisin-like smell. And that's what this has, with some resins and then that dry, muted, boozy tone underneath it that brings this kind of smooth whiskey feeling, which is, again, not an Old Fashioned. And there's no fruity tone to this. There might be a little bit of like a floral aspect that's providing a slight fruitiness maybe to the fragrance, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, from what I've heard, that old Kilian, the Kilian single malt, had a very nice and really relevant fruity tone. This one does not have that. I like this. It's very simplistic, and I'm not sure how wearable this would be. I mean, it smells very nice. It's just, especially in the United States. I like it, but do I love it? We're going to figure that out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you guys on hold for an hour. I want to see where this goes, so that's why I'm waiting an hour. And then I will come back and I will do a little bit of the dry down to let you know what I feel from it. So we will be right back. All right, guys, so we are back, and it's actually been about an hour and a half. I completely forgot that I was doing the video. I was making dinner. But how do I feel about this? So again, we are talking about Kilian's Old Fashioned. This is a brand new release here. It just came out at the end of August. And I do want to tell you, you can find it on Olfactory LLC. It's a discounter website, and I believe it's like $2.39 or something like that, which is a good price for the 50 milliliter for this. But so it didn't dry down too differently. If anything, it just got a little bit more dry, a little bit more woody, and even that boozy tone just kind of faded and became more muted than it was in the opening. There's a slight spice to this. The spice isn't really a relevant tone. It's just something that I picked up about 15 to 20 minutes into the fragrance. But the one thing that I can tell you that really stays here for me is this resinous woody tone. It is mixed together with that muted booze tone, and it has this, again, like a slight raisin-like smell to it. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's not like, it doesn't smell like raisins. It has this, It smells very similar to the Red Man tobacco that I remember back in the day. It has this kind of raisin-like smell to it, and it has this in it, and that I actually used to like that smell, which is weird enough to say, but overall, I would give this probably just based on what I'm smelling. The opening and the dry down are not very different. Like if you don't like the opening, then you're not going to like the dry down. So this is something that I'm definitely recommend. Like if it was Angel Share, I would say you can blind buy this if you like sweet cinnamon-like fragrances. I think that's an easy blind buy. But just like Apple Brandy on the Rocks is not for everybody, I would say that Old Fashioned is not going to be for everybody. I think if you're somebody who likes like a slight more, like a more masculine style fragrance, then you're probably going to like this. Again, it's not as sweet as the other ones in the line. It definitely has some of that whiskey, but it's more muted. Has almost this like tobacco-like dry smell to it. It's resinous for sure, but very simplistic. It almost smells like it has like 3 notes in the entire fragrance. And that would be like amber, resins, woods, and whiskey. So that'd be 4. That's really the basis of the fragrance. Again, there's a slight floral tone that's providing almost like a slight little bit of fruitiness in that opening 15 to 20 minutes, but that goes away pretty quickly. But overall, I'd give this probably about an 8. Like an 8 to an 8.2. It's not blowing me away, but it is a nice fragrance. And I could see this being something that grows on you. I could see the second time I wear this and the third time I wear this. And it is 81 degrees outside. And I am right now, I was just outside, so I am kind of like warm bodied. And this is the type of fragrance that would work better in the cool weather. So I'm really interested to see. It might be one of those ones that smells really good in the cool weather and not well like when it's warm outside. Overall, I think it's very nice. I think it's going to be a 50-50 whether you like it or not. I don't see anybody really hating this fragrance. It doesn't smell. There's not anybody out there that's going to say, "Oh, that's terrible." Well, there's always that one, but overall, yeah, it's really nice, and it's not really falling down on my skin. It's not like overly powerful like Angel Share and Apple Brandy, but it's definitely sticking there. It's one of those ones you can spray 3 to 4 times, and I'm guessing you're going to get like 10 hours out of it. But yeah, Kilian Old Fashioned is nice. It doesn't smell like an Old Fashioned if you're going into it thinking that. It does not, but it does smell nice. Again, woody, resin, a slight muted boozy tone underneath it that really I was expecting to be heavier and to be more like a bourbon sweet vermouth with a little bit of orange or cherry. That's what I was expecting going into this, but it's not. And again, it has that kind of like wheat-like smell throughout the entire fragrance because it's like that dry, weedy-like smell. But overall, it's very nice. It has a nice subtle sweetness, a nice subtle boozy tone that has resins, the woods, and maybe a little bit of a smoky tone, but that's about it. I mean, it's very muted though. It's a very nicely blended fragrance. So yeah, definitely give it a shot. I would say this is one is definitely worth. I mean, don't take my word for it. Whether you love it or you don't love it, you want to go out and try this one. I think this is one that you should definitely give a shot, especially with the fall creeping up really fast. So that is Kilian Old Fashioned, and that is my first impression. I am going to give it about 6 to 10 wearings, and then I will come back with a full review. But again, in the comments, let me know what you guys think about this, and again, I will be back with another one. Peace out.